Well, Sabbath greetings to everyone. I hope you've had a tremendous week. It's been a great week here in Sussex. It's been it's been a very productive week. Been working on quite a few things in the area of planning, and it's contract negotiation time and all that type of thing. Trying to get all the contracts established for 2017 for our halls. But it looks like we're pretty much good to go in all the areas where we're meeting for services. It looks like at least it looks for now like we're going to have contracts everywhere, and we'll continue to have a place to meet in all the congregations through 2017. So that's always a good thing. We have a place to meet. God's working that out, and so very, very grateful for that. I had the chance to do some visiting this week, and very grateful. Always nice to be able to get out and visit with folks and get to see people. And of course there's a lot of trials going on. That's pretty much par for the course, I guess, but we certainly want to pray for one another and pray that those that are suffering will be relieved of that suffering, and ask for God's intervention in that. It's been another exciting week in the world. Certainly, as we still have all these protests going on and violent protests going on. It's amazing. It's just simply amazing to me to see the atmosphere that has sprung from the election cycle and the electing of Mr. Trump for president. So it's very, very interesting to see the things that are happening out there, and had the opportunity to do a couple of new webcasts this week. They actually contacted me. They were at a point where they had 0 webcasts in the pipeline, so I cranked a couple of those out this week, and one of them I discussed the election and the protesting, and really what is our obligation at this point. It has a lot to do with what we were talking about, what I talked about in last week's Sabbath Greetings video, that we have our role certainly as God's people, but even those that are in the world need to understand fully that when you live in a democracy, this is what you get. It doesn't always go your way, and we've had a lot of pundits and a lot of those that are addressing those issues and calling them crybabies and everything else. It is just very interesting that that's the response that so many people have had whenever they didn't get their way. In that sense, it just shows a tremendous, it is a byproduct, really, kind of a something that springs really from a lack of personal responsibility. And those people don't understand that it in a democracy, this is the way it works. So it's interesting, especially as we get ready to enter into the Thanksgiving holiday here coming up next week. And so obviously that's what my mind's been on, and thinking about Thanksgiving. That was the other webcast that I did, is just thinking about the concept of gratitude, and talking about how it is that a lot of people get sidetracked during the Thanksgiving holiday because there's so much shopping going on. They really are sidetracked by that issue, because a lot of the stores are open on Thanksgiving Day, and of course Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving, and so it's really sad. It's really sad to see just the glossing over, the almost the ignoring of Thanksgiving, the one day a year that we have to give thanks nationally. And it's sad, but the scriptures, and I would encourage you and challenge you to just do a very simple Bible study on thanks, or on Thanksgiving, and you'll find many, many scriptures on it. Ephesians 5 is one of them. Ephesians 5, it says, therefore, verse 1, be imitators of God. That's what we've had the opportunity to do, to be imitators of God as dear children. We are children of God, begotten children, and walk in love as Christ also has loved us and given himself for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God for a sweet-smelling aroma. We can be very grateful for that sacrifice. That's something we should always give thanks for, but certainly especially on a day of Thanksgiving. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not even be named among you, as is fitting for saints. Yes, there's still those in the church of God at that time, and certainly in the church of God today, that have some overcoming to do from fornication and uncleanness and covetousness, all those types of things. We need to overcome it. And it says here, neither filthiness nor foolish talking nor coarse jesting, which are not fitting, but rather giving of thanks. So there's a change from the way we used to do things, and we were coarse jesting. We get into dirty jokes and all that sort of thing on the job, and all kinds of cussing and things like that. We're not involved in that. We are overcomers of those things. We give those things up, and we turn instead to giving of thanks. And we certainly want to do it on Thanksgiving. Make sure you take the time to give proper thanks to God for all the blessings that we've been given, and of course the blessing of being able to turn from the way of life that he's discussing here to a life of thanksgiving to God. And it's an important part of our lives. In verse 20 of the same chapter, Ephesians 5, giving thanks always for all things. Giving thanks always, of course not just on a day of Thanksgiving, but always for all things to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, submitting to one another in the fear of God. So that's part of our responsibility, is to give thanks to God, to be grateful for the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, to give thanks always for all things. And that's something that we've been called to do in a very special way. In Philippians 4 and verse 6, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. So in our prayers we have an element of thanksgiving. It's just built in. It's something we should be building into our mind and our way of thinking, and certainly our prayers, is that we do these things. We're anxious for nothing, but by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. So we are to be a thankful people. There's so many others, but Colossians 1 and verse 12, let's see, how does it start here in verse... Oh, it goes all the way back to the beginning here. But strengthened with all might according to his glorious power. This is verse 11. For all patience and long suffering with joy, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified us to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in the light. See, we're not qualified in that sense. It is God the Father who has qualified us to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in the light. That's something we can ever be grateful for and thankful for. There's a lot of other scriptures. I could tell you all of them, but I hope you'll do your own Bible study on thanks and thanksgiving and all that we personally have to be thankful for. Yes, we're all going to be thankful for the truth. We're going to be thankful for God's Spirit. We're going to be thankful for our family, for our friends, for the church, for the work, for all those things. But we certainly want to dig down deep inside of our personal lives. How much do we all have to be thankful for? I know I think about the life I used to live, and I know many of you think about the life we used to live, and how grateful we can be and how thankful we can be that we have been called out of darkness and into the marvelous light of the truth of God. We have the truth and we understand it, and what a glorious blessing that is, and how much we have to be thankful for. So I just wanted to give those few thoughts here as we approach Thanksgiving coming up next week, and certainly be thankful for this Sabbath. I hope you have a tremendous Sabbath wherever you plan to keep it. We'll be in Milwaukee this week and hosting Thanksgiving, special Thanksgiving dinner at our home after services. Of course, you've all been invited, anyone who would like to come, but just in the general area, we've had some sign-up sheets and that sort of thing to help provide enough food for everyone, and we're looking forward to that very much. And looking forward to the fellowship and the food and all that that comes with it. Very grateful for that opportunity. So I hope to see many of you there. I know we've had quite a number sign up for that. So we're looking forward to seeing you. And if we don't see you at this meal and don't see you in Milwaukee or at our home, we look forward to seeing you in the weeks ahead. We are planning on heading back to Kirksville for Thanksgiving. We'll be spending time with my in-laws, and we look forward to that. We don't have the opportunity to do that very often, and so we're looking forward to that very much. And then of course coming up we have another activity at the end of December, the Kansas City weekend, so I hope many of you are making plans for that as well. But at any rate, maybe some of you are going to the Charlotte family weekend. That'd be wonderful too. But anyway, we look forward to seeing you. Have a tremendous Sabbath. I love you all. I thank you for your prayers for me, for my family. I'm praying for you, and appreciate all of you very much. And I look forward to seeing you all in the weeks ahead. I love you all. Take care. Have a great Sabbath.